Today's Thursday, February 9th, 2023, and I'm going to keep reading Isaiah. See, this is a good thing about doing a little bit of something every day, but being very consistent about making sure you're doing it every day, even though it may seem like you're really not doing much. Already at Isaiah chapter 11, so that's pretty good. And that's even with, I think I skipped a day or two and talked about something else. So, small but consistent effort towards something. Time just goes so quickly these days. All you can do is just little bits at a time sometimes. Okay. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge, and of the fear of the Lord. And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Whoa, so these are really cool verses here. The make him of quick understanding. You know how revelations happen sometimes? Just like it can be overwhelming, the flood of information that comes at one moment, or it's like your perspective has shifts, but so many things come into view at the same time. And that is how God works when he really needs to show you something, or you ask for something and he decides to show it to you. It can totally change your life, a quick change in perspective. And that's what I see when the quick understanding and the fear of the Lord, people can just change very drastically over a short period of time when the Spirit is working through them. And then the part here, not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of the ears. This world is full of a lot of deception, and a lot of times we think we see something, but we're not really looking at it right. Or you think you hear somebody say something, but it actually wasn't the case. And yeah, I don't know if that's exactly what they're talking about there, but there is more to this world than what you can see and hear. Okay, I'll keep reading. I mean, verse 4 too also shows the power of the word here, talking about with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked, the rod of his mouth. Just anything that there's just so much in the Bible that points to the power of words and spoken word having actual power to it. And the righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. Okay, is this the one that people often say is a Mandela effect? Here's my personal take. I personally believe that King James Version probably always said here that the wolf will lie down with the lamb. And I think that it's just one of those things where, you know how people say, oh, cleanliness is next to godliness. That does not come from the Bible. That nowhere in the Bible does it say that, but you'll even hear pastors say nonsense statements like that have no biblical basis whatsoever. So I think the lion laying down with the lamb, and here, right, I guess that's what people say is the Mandela effect, that it's not supposed to be wolf and lamb, but I think it's always been like this. It's just that pastors and other people, they say it wrong, and it gets repeated over and over again. Like, I think it's probably the same thing with the Luke, I'm not your father, or I'm your father, or whatever. If that is probably not something that was changed, or not like a psyop Mandela effect. It's probably just an example of misquotations. Misquotations happen all the time, and especially if they give more context, or in a case like the lion and the lamb thing, for whatever reason, the lion and the lamb imagery is stuck with people more, and people did more paintings of it and things, but that doesn't mean that the text used to say that. I think that there are things that people just collectively get wrong, and false information gets spread through people, and just people repeating things. There's all sorts of expressions that people think are religious in nature, or they think it's a Christian expression, but it has no basis in the Bible whatsoever. Okay, so I'm going to keep reading. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And see, it could even be stuff like this, like a few lines later, they're talking about a lion. I mean, yeah, the next verse. In verse 6 is the wolf and the lamb, and then the very next verse they talk about a lion. So it would be very easy to get confused about this and then start making claims like, oh, the Bible's wording is changing. I don't believe that. Now, something I do believe is that very, very old versions of King James Version might differ a little bit from modern day King James versions. But I think if you have a really, really old King James Version, it's still going to say wolf with the lamb in verse 6. Okay. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. What a cool Bible chapter this is turning out to be. Yes, the earth is flat. There's four corners of the earth. It's a circle within a square. Mentions of his people being dispersed. That's totally what we see today. With the big awakening in 2017, it became immediately clear that it's like certain individuals were being woken up, and we were all spread out from one another. There never was like somebody who was, oh yeah, I woke up and then my wife woke up too at the same time, and then all my family woke up at the same. It just never was like that from what I could see. It really seems like God's people are dispersed, and to me it seems like that makes sense. It would be more effective if everybody was just together. That would be the end of it. But if God wakes up a scattering of people, they're able to more effectively spread. The spirit gets spread farther around at that point through the spread out individuals. Where was I? Verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. Okay, really cool chapter. I'm excited to keep reading, and hope you enjoyed the video. God bless everyone.